Welcome, guys, to episode 14 of gamingti. I'm Imani,
And I'm Tristan.
and today we got cloud gaming again. You know, I'd say a few episodes ago, we were still talking about Google Stadia.
I think that was our first uploaded episode, yeah. The
Yeah,
Google
yeah,
Stadia
I think
episode.
so.
Yeah.
I think it was a major milestone for us. But we're still working on a lot of stuff behind the scenes in terms of getting things on YouTube. That stuff's harder than it looks, man. But hopefully it'll be sooner than rather than later. But we have a few more competitors in the cloud gaming arena. Originally, we started talking about Google Stadia, which I got, and now we also have more talks about Microsoft XCloud, and then also Nvidia GeForce Now finally kind of being officially announced and released as a product.
Yeah, and according to reviews of GeForce Now, it looks pretty good, yeah. I actually got a
Yeah,
chance to try it out today. Like, today was one of the few days in a long time that I actually just got to sit down and game. It was
nice.
it was weird. I woke up and was like, "Oh, I don't have anything to do today. I'm off. This is cool." So I
I
just
don't
got
have to go anywhere. I don't have any errands to run. None of that stuff.
nothing. So I said, you know what? I had breakfast and I just fired up some games. And I got to try GeForce Now because GeForce Now is Nvidia's cloud streaming service that compares to Stadia or XCloud. And they've been doing this for a while now. It just got out of beta. It just got fully released and the reviews have been good. And hold on. Let me gather my thoughts here.
I know it's so. As for pricing, I'll just give the basic breakdown for pricing
Yeah,
while
yeah,
Tristan
bet.
gathers his thoughts.
Yeah.
But Stadia is currently, so we're actually just finishing the trial period basically of Stadia Pro. So as a founder, I got the founder edition, and I got 3 months of Stadia Pro free automatically. But starting this month, they will be charging $15 for Stadia Pro, but Stadia itself does have a free version essentially, but the thing is you still have to buy the games in order to use it. The difference between the free version and the pro version is, with the pro version you get some games, not very many. I think they have like 3 free games on there if you have the pro version, but you get 4K 60 FPS, whereas I think with the free version you just get 1080p 60 FPS.
Do you need the hardware for that too? Like, do you need to purchase the Stadia controller and the Stadia, uh,
No,
like a
that's the
Chromecast
good
or
thing.
anything?
No. So with you actually don't really need any hardware to run this at all. You can basically open your browser right now, sign up for Stadia, and you can get in. But the only thing is, I again, since I've had the Founders Edition, I've only had Stadia Pro, and I have not had the free experience yet. And as soon as I do get that, then I'll be able to talk about it a bit more. But it's supposed to basically be more or less the same. You don't need the controller. The controller is just an accessory. I could use a mouse and keyboard. And the only thing is, if you want to use it on mobile, you do have to use a Google Pixel. They have not been able to release it for non-Pixel devices as yet.
I wonder why. It has to be a software issue because I mean the hardware is definitely not an issue. I wouldn't think because the Google Pixel is not even the most powerful smartphone.
Yeah, honestly, I downloaded Stadia on my Note 10, and I really was looking forward to trying it, and then I was like, oh, only on Pixel. So it's definitely some kind of software mix-up, or maybe they just want the exclusivity, but they did promise for it to be across all of Android. So I don't know what the holdup is, but there is a holdup somewhere.
Okay, so thoughts officially gathered on GeForce Now.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Okay, so what I was gonna say is that I got to try it because they have two tiers of pricing right now. For right now, there's free and but there's a 1 hour limit when you're trying to friend. So you load up. So when you're on free, you get to load up all the games in your library, or you could purchase other games as well. But
Hmm.
after you play for an hour, the system logs you out. and you have to wait in queue until like a server spot gets becomes available. Uh, Other than that, there's the Founders Edition. They call it the Founders Edition as well, but I think Nvidia kind of start that with their graphics card. So I don't know, like as in is Nvidia ripping off Stadia? Is Stadia ripping off Nvidia? I don't know.
Maybe they're just both a fan of the word founder,
Probably, yeah. But the Founders Edition is $4.99 per month for now. That's the introductory pricing.
which is way better than Stadia, sitting at for Pro at $15 a month.
Well, yeah, way better than Stadia pricing for now. I have to stress that. So if you want to try it, you should get in now. It's $4.99 per month for a year. So I believe that you can get a year subscription with it with for the next 90 days. If you want to try it out, you can get it for $4.99 a month. After that, didn't say anything about pricing. All they're saying is it's going to be more. So it's definitely not going to stay at that price.
Yeah, it's probably gonna hit minimum 10, maximum 15, 20.
Probably, yeah, probably somewhere. I don't think it would be more than 14.99, simply because there's not. I don't think there's any service that's more than that at the moment.
No. I mean, honestly, even with Origin, uh I forgot the name, but the Origin thing,
Or Origin Premier,
um
Origin Access Premier.
yeah, yeah, Origin Access Premier, even that's $15, and I really don't see, like, that's top tier. That's like as high as of price as you really get when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, right. And you get a lot more games with that service. And with GeForce now, you're going to be using your own games. So I don't think they would call that much. I don't think they would be 14.99. Hopefully,
Yeah, I'm seeing it probably 10 to 12.
yeah. Hopefully, like 10 to 12, I think is fair.
Yeah.
Or they may go back to their original pricing, like when it launched in beta in 2015. Yeah, I think 2015. Uh,
Yeah, 2015,
yeah.
16.
When it launched, it was $7.99. So they might go back to that pricing. But it was a different service back then. Back then, they're
Yeah.
marketing it now as you don't need to buy your own games. Well, you don't need to buy games because you're just going to be using your own games. But now, no, but sorry, but back then you had to purchase games. So it was very similar to Google Stadia back then.
Right. And honestly, that's my problem with Stadia, is the fact that, okay, I'm paying $15 a month, but then I also have to buy the games with it. And GeForce Now kind of completely disrupts that, because now I'm using games that I already own, and I'm technically just paying for a service to be able to play them away from my gaming station at home.
Yeah, yeah. To continue on what was on the Founders Edition, it does also have a limit. So the Founders Edition limit is 6 hours,
Yeah, six
six
hours
hours
a
a
day,
day.
right?
I don't know if
Yeah.
they're going to extend that in the future, or if it's gonna stay that way for a while. I haven't got seen any information on that.
I wonder why. Why is there the limit there? Is it
I think it's
because
just
server space,
Yeah, I think it's
or
just server space. I think they just don't have the space for it because the hardware that they're using is not cheap. Because the performance that they're aiming at, from the reviews, people have been playing Metro Exodus, and that is not an easy game to run, even if you have top end hardware. That and they're
right?
getting 1080p 60 frames per second with RTX enabled on the highest settings.
With RTX.
With RTX enabled. So
The
ray
rays.
tracing, and I believe that game also has DLSS. So you're not getting like medium 1080p medium like on Stadia. This is serious performance.
Yeah.
So and the graphics card that I think they're using is like the silver grade graphics card, one that has 24 gigs of VRAM. I forgot the exact name, but it's like a $4,000 card.
Damn, and they probably have an entire building of those.
Yeah, so it's not cheap. They probably don't know how much of a demand they would have for this, so they probably don't want to build more servers or get more server space. and then they don't need it.
Yeah.
So they're probably just trying it out for now, and that's why there's the limit.
And again, that's why I can see a company like Google doing Stadia, because they already have data centers all over the world. They already have the platform to be able to, send these massive amounts of data back and forth between you. They already do this. This is their bread and butter. So I really thought it was a case of, if there was anybody who could pull this off, it would be Google. But I'm glad that Nvidia's stepping in as well, and then Microsoft, interestingly enough, coming in as well with XCloud, which I've signed up for it. You can basically sign up for it and have you're on a waiting list. So right now I'm on a waiting list, and as soon as I get in, I'll let you guys know.
But like I said earlier, I got to try GeForce Now today, and well, I got met with my first disappointment the first time I went to the site. It's region locked. I didn't know that.
So you got to
So
hit them with that VPN.
yes, I had to use the EVPN. I'm not gonna say their name because they're not sponsoring us.
We ain't sponsored yet, and we're definitely not taking a sponsor from NVPN. You know who you are.
Exactly. But yeah, it was region locked. Apparently, it's not available in all regions. It's available in a lot more regions than I thought. It's North America, parts of Asia, Europe. It's just not. I think they just don't have the servers in the Caribbean, which I am located.
Yeah, I mean, it probably has to do with a matter of latency. The next problem that probably happens too is you can't really use a VPN for something like this, can you? Because
No,
it increases the latency.
yeah, and that's the next thing. I was about to say I can't really report on how good it is because it was terrible for me because over VPN I just could not play anything. I
Right,
tried playing Borderlands and the settings they recommended for me just because of the VPN. They told me like if you want better settings on this, you need to disable the VPN. But if I disable the VPN, I won't be able to use it.
right.
But the settings they recommended for me was 720p 60 FPS, and
Damn.
it was first of all it's 720p. So yeah, gaming on
Yeah,
720p not ideal.
I think other than I'm not sure what the switch in handheld mode is. I think it's 720p, but maybe 1080. No, I think it's only 1080 when you dock it. But yeah, gaming in 720, especially games that aren't like Nintendo games where they're less performance and they're, just nice and colorful and they're not really super high graphics or anything. That must have been a nightmare. That must have been horrible.
It wasn't great. I could tell you that it wasn't great. Basically it was unplayable for me because in addition to it being 720p, the latency. Oh God.
What was your ping like? What, let me know that.
Well, okay. So the ping in game said like 100,
Hmm.
which isn't terrible, but it was
No, that's not
definitely
bad.
more than that. Like
Right.
because the latency was so bad. After I played Borderlands, I fired up Overwatch, and well, I start. When you open up Overwatch, you start hearing the menu music. I went
Right.
into the practice range, and
And
that
then you
music
started hearing
still
it.
played. The music, it was still playing until
Oh
I
man.
left the game. It just never stopped. And
That's interesting.
like if I shot at something, like if I hit a target, it took not even exaggerating, maybe like 2 seconds for it to register.
That's yeah. So you had 2000.
Somewhere around there, somewhere in that region.
Oh man, that's. I mean, I remember what it was like having horrible internet, and that's like taking it to another level. It makes games unplayable. So don't even think about playing online games.
Nah, you really can't. The Borderlands experience was bad as well, just due to the latency, but I think like you definitely wouldn't be able to play an online game, not in my circumstance.
So, I mean, we've already explained the basics of VPNs on one of our last episodes, but the reason why it takes so long is just because it's bouncing around multiple servers, and even if you have a signal moving at the speed of light, there will still be losses because it is traveling through fiber, fiber optics, and even bouncing around different computers from like one from here to one in America, then to back to you. That's just going to take time, no matter what. So that's why there's going to be these losses.
Yeah, and okay, something else that I realized that I didn't realize before I downloaded it is that Origin games aren't supported yet.
Yeah, I know that they said Steam, Epic, and one
Square
more.
Enix, no, not Square Enix. Steam, Epic, the oh gosh, what's I think Ubisoft.
Ubisoft. I'm looking it up right now, and I'm seeing Steam and Epic Game Store, but there's also another one. There's definitely a third game store that you have access to. But I mean, it's still a better start than Stadia because you're still buying games, and their free game catalog really is not anything to write home about. But I am looking forward to Microsoft xCloud just because uh, with xCloud, we already have Game Pass. So is it a case of we have access to our entire Game Pass library as well? I think that would be pretty nice.
That'd be interesting to see. I think the Game Pass library is pretty good.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's not a lot of games. It's like about 100 or so games, but it's good quality
That's the
games.
thing. That's the thing for sure. Like you have a lot of the old Halos. You have games like Forza Horizon 4. There's a lot of really good games on there. I mean, things like Overwatch and stuff aren't on there, but for the breadth of games that they have, it's actually pretty sizable, and there's a lot of different categories.
Yeah, I was about to say the variety of games they have too, because you have games like Ori,
Yep.
which I actually wanted to try, and like or shooter games like you mentioned Forza, but there's also shooter games like I think Metro was on there for a while. I don't know if they're still on there.
I know Metro was on the Epic Game Store as a free game at some point.
It was. Did I miss that
That was a
sale?
while ago. That was like,
Unfortunate.
I got it though.
The Outer Worlds.
Oh yeah, they do
Yeah.
have that as well.
So XCloud could be really good, especially if you don't have to pay a lot more to get it. Is if you're bundling
Yeah.
it, or if they have a package where you could just get it separate, or you could get it in a bundle with Game Pass.
I think that's one of the few services I can see probably launching for like $20 as a bundle with Game Pass.
Mm. Do you think it would be competitive at that price? Actually, now that I think about it, it should be really competitive even at $20. Even if they do
I
that.
think, as I said, I think being bundled with Game Pass, so like how on with GeForce now we have our existing library of games that we've already bought, and they're charging you $5, at least the founders $5 to be able to play that wherever you are. With xCloud, what is it? How much is
Xbox Game
Game
Pass?
Pass? Game Pass is what, $9.99 a month?
I believe so. I believe on PC right now is $5 for 1 month, I think,
Right.
and then for the no, well, that's for the just for the PC.
Right.
But if you're getting the Game Pass Ultimate, it's 14.99.
Right. So imagine having Game Pass Ultimate. And Game Pass Ultimate, there is a difference between Game Pass and Game Pass Ultimate. Game Pass is mainly for the Xbox. It is on your console. So if you have an Xbox, you can pay $5 or $10 a month and you get access to these library of games. With Game Pass Ultimate, it gives you it on both your Xbox and your PC. So whatever library of games that is on Game Pass, you can also play it on your PC as well as your Xbox. So I can see that adding on $5 to that and making that $20 for Game Pass Ultimate and XCloud service. I think that would be a pretty solid price.
That would be way better than anything else right now, I think, just because the only thing that would probably compete with it is GeForce now, since you have access to your own games already.
Yeah.
Stadia definitely wouldn't compete because the I don't like the fact that buying something from the Stadia store doesn't mean you actually
Own it.
own it. It just gives you the ability to play it.
Yeah.
If the game developer pulls the game from Stadia, you no longer own the game.
Yeah.
You need to buy it again.
And there comes the issue with not being able to at least download your own game, right? Because you are buying it doesn't even come like you're buying it. It's more like you're leasing it for them from them at full price. So
Yeah,
I'm
basically.
giving them $60 for, let's say they have Tomb Raider on there, but Tomb Raider, luckily for the pro subscribers, is free. But if I bought Tomb Raider from Stadia and then all of a sudden, the developers say, hey, we don't want to support or we're pulling it from Stadia, my $60 is gone. Google might be nice enough and be like, oh, hey, we're sorry, no access anymore. Here's something else. Here's a $60 credit. You can get another game. But there is nothing that you own there. Like when I buy a game from the Steam store or anything on my PC, I get a download and that game is mine. It's technically basically like buying a license to the game. Whereas this, you don't really have anything to show for it.
I think that's the major issue with Stadia. Not like the latency stuff is bad, like the variable latency that people are reporting. But I think they could get over that.
Yeah.
The real issue with Stadia is that you don't own the game, and the way Google is kind of putting the onus on the developers, saying that our system is fine. The developers just didn't develop it good enough. That's why you're getting variable latency. That might encourage some of them to say, you know what, screw you,
Yeah.
and then they pull their games, and then what? You don't own it. You pay $60 for full price for a game, and then nothing. I wonder if they're gonna refund you.
That's what I'm saying. I think that there might be a case where they give you a credit and then you're able to use it on another game to say, here's $60, buy another game. But I don't know. We'll see. The thing is, I think, again, Stadia's big problem too is also it's a new platform. It is a brand new platform quite late into the gaming scene. And I'm not saying it's impossible for a new platform to kind of break in, but we already have established platforms, and this new platform doesn't give much to people to justify it existing or it for them paying for it. I'm not gonna lie, I was very optimistic about Stadia for a very long time. I'm still somewhat optimistic. I shouldn't say I'm optimistic for cloud gaming. I thought Stadia was gonna be a big mover in it, but I think I have to unfortunately kind of rewind that a bit. And I will say Stadia, they're a step in the right direction, but they're not the right direction.
I would have to agree with that. But I didn't think Stadia would be good to start with, simply because okay, so GeForce now had a 3 to 4 year beta. No one tested Stadia.
I mean, technically, this was the test. this 3 month founders thing was the test.
Yeah, but you're making people pay
Yeah, it's a
for
paid beta.
the. It's not just a paid beta. Like GeForce Now was a paid beta. You had to pay $7.99 to use it. This was you. You need to buy this $130 hardware in order to be a beta tester.
It's a premium paid beta. I mean, and the funny thing is, I can honestly say I don't really have too much regrets with buying the whole bundle just because while the Stadia controller isn't bad, I do use it on PC anytime I play computer games. And I do use my Google Chromecast Ultra. And just those two things alone technically add up to the price of, the entire Founders bundle, which was $130. Although I think I paid for expedited shipping because your boy wanted it right away. But, but I think I honestly got, in terms of just buying the hardware, I think I've got what I paid for it. I don't think I've lost anything based on just buying the hardware.
Speaking of hardware, the same cloud gamers to compete with The way they're saying that it could replace traditional PC and console gaming. A big issue that I'm seeing is that with those traditional hardware, like on console and PC, there's a lot of exclusive games that encourage people to play on those platforms.
100%.
There aren't a lot of exclusive cloud games, and I don't know if developers want to take the risk to develop a game exclusively for for cloud gaming.
Yeah.
That could be a major factor.
I think in the future, if it becomes more appealing and there's the numbers to back it up, they might. But as of right now, developing an exclusive just for cloud gaming, it's almost like a death sentence. It's kind of like how I'm going to kind of have to weave out here for a second, but Netflix, for example, basically released an anime recently called Beastars, I think last season, and it is only on Netflix. So now there is a paid wall for me to watch this anime, and I'm not going to buy Netflix to watch this anime. It's going to be a similar thing with I think exclusive games on a cloud streaming platform. Unless you already have a large user base, there's not going to be very many people who are going to go to that platform just for that exclusive, unless it's a really, really good exclusive. And even then, I think it's going to be pushing it.
Yeah, because I was about to say with Netflix, Netflix already has the user base. If that show didn't bring in new viewers or new memberships, it wouldn't have really been a huge deal for them, right?
Yeah.
They just, as long as they get to keep their members,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the stage they're at. But with these services, and you know what, it had me thinking. Maybe this is what Sony was seeing all along, and that's why they're still stuck in their ways with their
PlayStation
exclusive
Now.
titles.
Oh,
But
gotcha.
because they don't really have a cloud stream, well, they kind of do have a cloud streaming service, but it's not
It's
like
not cloud stream. Like it's
it's
you.
like
You would have to
local
have your.
streaming.
It's the
It's
best way I
like
can describe
local
it
cloud
is you
streaming.
literally are. It's not even. Yeah, it's local streaming. Actually, that's a good way to put it. It's you're not streaming to their cloud or from their cloud. You're technically streaming from your own PlayStation. So if I leave my PlayStation on, I could technically play it from somewhere else via my phone. But I tried this years ago and it was revolutionary at the time. The concept was great, but it didn't work. It didn't have what it needed to back it up.
Yeah, well, that's probably because PlayStation doesn't have the servers to well, not PlayStation, Sony doesn't have the servers like someone like GeForce, like Nvidia or Google does.
I honestly think it was also just too early for its time. I think it was a case of internet was good, right? Like internet has been good for a while. But I think it's only now with the advent of stuff like 5G and so on, when it comes to even 5G in your routers, that's what's going to start making internet better and more capable of transmitting these large amounts of data, even though it's short distances in your home, but it allows you to transfer these large amounts of data at very high speeds. Whereas I'd say from 2016 and prior to 2015, we've mostly been on 2.4 gigahertz networks. And while, yes, that's good, it limits how much data you can be receiving at one moment in time. 5G increases that by a lot. You know, I think 2.4 gigahertz networks could generally, on average, they do probably like 30. But with 5G, you can get 100, 120 more, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like the 5 gigahertz man, just it kind of changed the game.
Yeah.
Like no pun intended.
Yeah, the five gigahertz networks, they just allow an absurd amount of download and upload speeds. And speaking about 5 gigahertz networks, Amazon is, while they might not be directly entering the cloud gaming with their own platform, their bread and butter is something called Amazon Web Services, AWS. And it is essentially what fuels a lot of companies' infrastructures and their data systems and all of that kind of stuff. It's basically a, how would I describe Amazon Web Services? It's basically a, how would you describe Amazon Web Services?
It's basically a server solution for companies. That's the way. That's kind of what it is.
Yeah, it's cloud storage, computing for companies and government agencies, and it's what powers a lot of the stuff going on behind the scenes in companies. That's the best way to think of it.
Yeah, a lot of streaming services like Spotify, I think Netflix as well, maybe Hulu, use Amazon Web Services to do what they do.
Right.
That's why I think like maybe a couple of years ago, when Amazon Web Services went down, a lot of those streaming services went down as well.
Right. So Amazon is big. That's besides Amazon, .com. This is where they make a lot of their money in the business to business department. So while Amazon might not be entering the cloud gaming market with their own platform, they are planning to support the cloud gaming market very heavily with a service called Amazon Web Services, or AWS Wavelength, which is aimed at delivering ultra low latency applications for 5G. By ultra low, they're talking about being able to have applications running with single digit latency, which is kind of crazy. So we were talking about ping earlier, and ping is the amount of time it takes for a command to reach a server and then come back. And they're planning, or they're aiming at basically getting that ping down into the 1 to 9 millisecond range of ping, which is exactly what cloud gaming would need. So there's not all of this jittering and all of this stuttering, and things just run smoothly.
But it has to be, you have to have some kind of physical advantage for them to get it to that low of a latency. Because as you were saying, it takes time for something to travel. So for me in the Caribbean, let's say, connecting to a server that's in the US, it just needs, even if I have insane internet speed, even if they have super low latency, it would take some time just to get the signal to that server over that physical distance, because it needs to travel that distance and then back to me.
Yeah, there will always be something, but I I don't know what their plan is to get it there. I think it's eventually going to happen where it's good enough where we're comfortable with it and it's not giving problems and it's consistent. And I think one of the solutions that they might be using to help or get over that hump is Elon Musk's crazy Starlink idea. Or not even idea, he's launched it already. They're already up there. I can't remember if I've mentioned this because I talk about Elon Musk all the time. Yeah, I'm obsessed with him. No, I'm just playing. I'm not, but I like what he does. And although this is kind of creepy, this is like super
Yeah,
villain
this is
level.
very super creepy. I don't want to say
Yeah,
anything, but you mentioned it. All right, so carrying
yeah.
on.
This. So basically, Elon Musk, Tesla, SpaceX dude, launched some satellites into space, small satellites, and they're called Starlink. And what they will be doing is, I'm like 90% sure I've explained this on the podcast already, but what they'll be doing is orbiting the Earth in essentially like a net kind of pattern. And he plans or aims to have high speed internet essentially all around the world using this Starlink satellite platform. I don't know how that translates into real life applications and how speed, because again, light, even if you're using a beam of light like a laser, we're talking about weather can change, connectivity speed and all of that. I don't know how good it would be, and I don't know how low it can get latency down to. But if Amazon says single digit millisecond, and even if 9 milliseconds is peak, that's that's a good bit over what we currently have.
Yeah, it's better, but my issue is that is for how much people would that apply to? That when I say peak, I'm not. It's peak for as in there would be a couple of people that are located like a few miles away from the data center
From the server. Yeah.
that get that performance, so they can report it and say, "Hey, we can do this. We've done this." And then when everybody else tries to do it, it's like, "Oh, I've got horrible latency. What's the issue here?"
Right.
Well, move. You're too far.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really wondering what their plan is, how they aim to do this, but we can only wait and see how they do it, what they do, and what the results are. Maybe it's a case of all of a sudden they have mini data centers all over everywhere. I doubt that because that's very expensive. Building a data center is ridiculously expensive. I don't know. I really don't know what the solution is, but we will see. We will find out.
I'm telling you, we need to get that merch, yo. We'll see. It'll be interesting.
Yo, we'll see, or it'll be interesting merch coming soon. Link will be in the description. So one of the things too, we spoke about 5G in a previous episode, and 5G and phones is going to be, it's going to kind of revolutionize the way I think we get data on our phones, and kind of I like 4G kind of already did that. I very confidently kind of go wherever I want watching a YouTube video. I leave my house like listening to a podcast, and once I leave my Wi-Fi, it continues and it keeps going, and it's seamless. I wonder if it's a case with cloud gaming and 5G. Would it be a case of we need less good hardware on our phone because a lot of things might be getting done in the cloud?
Hmm. I don't know. I don't think we'd need worse hardware. I don't think they would have a trend to that simply because gaming is not the only thing you do on your phone, right? As other apps take advantage of newer technology, you're gonna have to update the hardware as well. So,
Hmm.
like Instagram filters with the AR stuff, you're still gonna need good enough hardware for that. So I don't think it would take away from the development process of smartphone, making them worse than anyway.
But that's what I'm talking about. I might have messed up the way I said that, like implying that I meant strictly for gaming, but I'm talking about for things like AR, how we were talking about before. It might be a case of a lot of the computing for AR could be done in the cloud. If you have a lot of AI computing for AR done in the cloud, I think that could make, some really big jumps in mobile tech.
Actually, that's a good point. I think hardware development might stagnate a bit, but I think
Yeah,
phones will still be powerful. They would just be a bit faster since they would probably think of a intuitive solution to combine the hardware with the cloud processing.
right. I could see that. It's a combination of processing both locally and in the cloud. Yeah, I mean that would be something that I think would really push it can push the envelope on things a little bit more because it's taking off a lot of pressure from your phone, and that could in turn extend battery life, and I don't know. There's a lot of things that cloud computing, when it comes to processes that your phone uses, that just it doesn't need to be like extremely snappy.
Yo, check this. This might be going off a bit here. I think it's definitely going off a bit here. But
Uh,
you ever think that we like run out of space with all the cloud services that we're using? Do you think that like at some point it's just not gonna have enough space for all of it?
I've thought about that for so long because, for example, like every hour it's like a million hours of video being uploaded to YouTube, which is ridiculous. And it's like, where do they store all of that? You know, it's one of those things where I don't think we. Oh, okay. I just found the stat. Ready for this? 300 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube every minute.
Oof. Oh. And that's like that's 1080p HD minimum. Like no one uploads in like 720p or even like
Some of it might be
480p.
vertical
Oh
crap,
yeah, true,
but you
true.
know.
Yeah, that's facts.
But still 300. So when I first looked into this, the way they kind of work around things is one, YouTube's compression, because when a video is uploaded to YouTube, it is compressed like a lot. And the way they do that compression is every time there is a movement in the frame of a video, they only really change the pixels in that area of movement. MKBHD has a really good video on it. You could go check it out. I'll have it linked down below. But if I have a stationary background, there is no need to move any of the pixels in the background there because it is completely stationary. But my face and so on, so that area of the video will be moved. And that's kind of how they do a lot of compression. So while MKBHD uploads these technically, like sometimes I think he has like 500 gigabyte size videos being uploaded to YouTube, it gets compressed to like a few gigs. And I think that's one way they do it. And two, or solutions are constantly always being looked at for smaller storage. And I know, gosh, was it AMD? Intel? Somebody recently it might have been Microsoft actually, had a breakthrough in, or at least they're like finally getting close to a breakthrough in smaller storage mediums.
Was it the storage on glass thing? Because I think that was Microsoft. Yeah, that
Yes,
was Microsoft.
that was Microsoft, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think we're going to run out of storage. I do think that data centers are going to be like they're constantly being updated. Like, and as soon as a smaller storage medium is like, found, they start to pull out a lot of their old stuff, copy it over to this new medium, and hopefully the new medium is smaller. And at the same time, the earth is big. Like the earth is really big. So even if it's a case of they utilize like the entire continent of Greenland as a server,
You won't
I'm
need
pretty
extra
sure it'll be
coolant. They'll
okay.
probably save a lot on coolant, yo.
That's what I know. Facebook actually builds a lot of their servers in really cool places, just because that's how it just has to be done. You can't build that shit in Africa. It's gonna get too damn hot. Build that shit in the Sahara.
That's why I always wondered why Silicon Valley was a thing. Why would you build servers there?
Yeah, I know Google actually, I think they have a server barge. So like it's actually like a ship that is I think always docked, and they pump in seawater, like massive amounts of seawater to cool their stuff. Storage is definitely it's something that companies always have to think about, but they're always ahead of the curve. They're always at least trying to be a few steps ahead. Like, could you imagine trying to upload a video to YouTube right now and it's like, oh, well, we're out of space. Sorry.
Yeah, that would freak me the fuck out. Yeah, I would lose my shit. I was like, wait, what? What? What do you mean? What do you mean? I need
Yeah.
to upload this though. I just got a
Uh,
5K on Widowmaker. I need people to see this.
Everybody goes to Vimeo and then Vimeo crashes
Within like 2 seconds.
within 2 seconds. Did I say 300 of hours of video are uploaded to YouTube every minute? Uh, my bad. 500. That was an old statistic. Gosh, that is. Wait, hold on. 500 hours. That is 200 days of content, like roughly 200 of content every minute, like 200 days of content. Like, am I doing math right?
Uh Dude, don't put
Wait,
me on the
no.
spot. Don't make
Tw-
me look stupid.
no, you see, now I feel like I'm looking stupid. If there's 24 hours in a day and there's 500 hours being uploaded every minute, then it's 20,
Sure.
right?
I'm just like I'm
20
just gonna agree
days.
with you.
Roughly, I think it's like roughly 20, 25 days of content being uploaded every minute on YouTube. Just as a comparison.
Oh damn.
Quick maths.
Oh, that's too much.
Oh, but
That's
yeah,
too
so
much.
I mean, just imagine trying to watch 20 hours of content or 20 days of content in 24 hours. I mean, not that hard.
Yeah, that's possible.
Totally. Not breaking, the concept of time or anything at all.
No, 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 no.
But yeah, so our tangent took us to memory, but the world is going to be in some trouble if we ever really run out of memory. Like, it's going to be crazy because think about it like this. That means hospitals can no longer log new babies. That's just one example.
Yeah, well, they'll go back to the old school way, the pen and paper way.
Bruh, I honestly don't think we stock enough paper to handle the like not being able to put something into a computer.
Oh, you'll just like die and stuff.
It would honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I think it would be apocalyptic if the world ran out of memory. If like all memory just like cloud memory just stopped working, I think it would be like an apocalyptic scenario. Nearly apocalyptic, which sounds extreme, but I really think like computers are that important to us right now.
Neat.
Hey, fun stuff to think about.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So we spoke about Stadia, we spoke about Amazon Web Services, we spoke about, gosh, a good few different things. One thing I do want to touch on is graphene batteries.
Yeah.
I sent you this recently. Graphene batteries are slowly but surely becoming a thing. It's finally hitting mainstream. And for those of you who don't know, our usual battery technology uses essentially chemicals to store electrical current, and it's converted into chemical energy and then converted back into electrical energy, and that's how we charge our batteries. But graphene technology is the one example that I found so far that's an actual purchasable product. It's not a fully graphene battery, it's like a graphene composite, but graphene is essentially using carbon in a certain pattern, and then you could have a solid state battery that is able to charge ridiculously quickly. And even the non-fully graphene battery that I found recently, which is a 10,000 milliamp hour battery, can charge in 50 minutes compared to my phone, which is I think 4,000 milliamp hours, and that takes like 2 hours. Or I think at the maximum speed it can charge in like an hour, but it's less than half the size, and it takes roughly around the same time, if not a little bit more, to charge.
And it charges linearly, right? So it doesn't like with the smartphone batteries right now with lithium ion batteries, like quick charge is basically 0 to 80%, and then after that it takes a bit.
It slows.
Yeah, it slows down, but this like
Yeah,
charges at the same speed throughout of the
right throughout.
cycle.
Yep, which is really impressive because if you really notice, you could if you plug in your phone right now from 0% or 10% or whatever, it will hit like 50, 60, 70% pretty quickly. A lot of the times within probably like half an hour, 45 minutes. But then it's that last 20% that they kind of have to slow down because they can damage the battery if they keep charging at that same pace. But with graphene, whatever it starts at, it just keeps going at. So it took 50 minutes for the 10,000 milliamp hour battery to charge. It hit 50% by 25 minutes. It hit 75% by whatever 75% of 50 minutes is. I'm not going to do that math again. And then it hits, it fully charges. It does not have that that curve where it kind of eases off. It just keeps going. So once we start getting that in our phones, we're going to start to expect some serious charging times, and also like some really, really quick charging times.
Does it discharge any like slower than normal batteries? Like lithium ion batteries?
I think it does. I think it holds charge a little bit better. And it also, like a fully solid state graphene battery, also deteriorates a lot slower. I think even the one that I showed, I'll actually link that down below. I think it deteriorates like 5 to 10 times slower than a regular lithium ion battery would deteriorate.
Oh, cool. So that's just like less losses or something.
Yeah, so basically, as it is right now, so before Samsung had their whole Note 7 incident where,
Or the
Note
bomb.
7s were
Yeah.
yeah, just bomb in your pocket. Um, is that a bomb in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? I'm just playing. That was horrible. But what happened is, as that phone charged, it swell. Like sometimes some of them would swell, and the battery would also deteriorate every time it charged. And what that means is by the end of basically like a year of using the phone, you no longer get really like 100% of the battery capacity. It's a case of, if I have a phone that lasts 5 hours a day and I, use it for a year, and I'm charging it regularly every day, every night, by the end of that year, I will only have about 80% of the maximum capacity of what I started with. And although again, the battery will say it charges to 100%, but that's literally because, cell, like, it just cannot hold as much charge anymore. But graphene batteries don't have this issue.
It has the potential to change the smartphone industry, because a lot of the time now when people are updating their phones slower, a lot of the time they're just updating their phone because the battery does not charge
Yep.
like it used to anymore.
Hmm. That was the main reason I updated from my Note 8. So, and I mean, Samsung has made really, really like remarkable strides ever since the Note 7 incident to increasing battery health and battery life and so on. So, like, I think with the Note 10, it used to be a case of after a year, your battery would be at like 80% of what it used to be. I think now it's like after a year, it's at like 95. So, they've worked a lot with trying to increase battery safety, battery health. But they're also looking into graphene batteries, and it's very possible that this year, when the Note 20 comes out, because they're just skipping 11 through 19, when the Note 20 comes out, it might have a graphene composite battery, because Samsung has been behind graphene technology for a while. They've been looking to it for a while.
Neat. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, as we say here, it'll be interesting.
Oh god. Is there anything else left for us to cover?
No.
Oh, the guy who caused traffic jam in
Oh
Germany.
yeah, man. This is just a bit of funny. I mean, it's actually potentially sinister, but it's funny. You want to tell the tale?
Well, yeah. This guy, he walked around a street in an empty street in Germany with a bunch of with like 99 smartphones, and he created a fake traffic jam because Google Maps. Well, a fake traffic jam on Google Maps. I don't know if you're using another service to get traffic info, if it would be different.
Yeah, it would. Like, so the way Google Maps generally gathers its data is, when you sign up for a Google account on your phone and you have it on your phone and all of that, most of the times you hit without knowing, or maybe you do know, but when you like hit that agree to terms and all of that stuff, you basically give Google the ability to track you. And again, they don't necessarily use it for malicious purposes. They use it for data like traffic. So, let's say you're sitting on the highway in traffic, your phone will be sending that data to Google saying like, they're not moving as fast as they should be on this highway. And 50 other cars around him are saying the same thing, which means that there must be a traffic jam. So all of these devices are moving slower than they should on a piece of road that you're supposed to be moving a lot faster. So obviously it means that there's a backup. So this guy literally went and took 90 different phones, and I think he had to have 90 different Google accounts, and it confused Google servers thinking, "Ah, damn, these 90 phones are moving slow. There must be traffic."
I wonder what motivated him to do that. Just boredom, or did he want to
Make a
like
point.
bring attention to it? Because Google did say that yeah, that could potentially be a problem. So we'll look into that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's funny. I've thought about that before, but I've never had the capability of getting 90 phones. And I also don't have the willpower to also make 90 different Gmail accounts just to try this.
Yeah, 90 accounts just to try this. Well, I guess you could just like random generate like usernames and stuff.
Or
But,
maybe he just has that many friends.
maybe he's just a sociopath.
So the reason why this is so potentially malicious is because, let's say someone wants to target you and they know you take the same route every day and all of that, and you generally use Google Maps, like if you're coming from home or whatever, just to get the fastest route home. If somebody had a few hundred phones, they can make these fake traffic jams that will essentially make your phone tell you a different route to go, and then they could figure out what that route is, and that could be very bad. So
Yeah, I went the other way with it. My brain just instantly went to like a heist, like a bank heist. You just want to clear this route. Just have a guy walking with a trolley on some empty street. You basically close off the road.
Yo, that's a
You
big,
close
and
off
then
the
all of a
street
sudden,
for yourself,
your
man.
boys come flying down that road. Easy
Yeah.
out. I mean, so this is definitely going off on a tangent, and this is just kind of fun talk. But I sent you that video of the guys who, what was it? The guys who robbed a Swedish bank on in a helicopter.
Yo, that helicopter heist was crazy.
That was amazing.
That story, like after finishing that video, I was like, yeah, they earned that money.
Yeah, 100%. So the story is, and again, I'll link the video down below because there's a video explaining it. In 2009, these guys, I don't know if it was a Swedish bank, but it was a building where a lot of money was kept in the Swedish city of Stockholm. And it wasn't a bank vault. It was essentially a room where I think they check the money. And there was a lot of money stored there. They still have not officially said how much money it was, but it was enough money where the city warned residents and people who were in the city that the city might the city's ATMs might run out of cash, within the following days/weeks until they replenish.
Which is a crazy amount of money they had to steal.
Yeah, insane. They estimate it ranges between like a few million to a few $100 million US.
Yeah. I think they could strike off that few million.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a few million. If it was gonna affect the way the ATM stock their money, yeah, it's more than a few million.
So what these guys did was they basically stole a helicopter. It wasn't a police helicopter, it was a civilian helicopter, and they landed on top of the building. They broke in through the roof and they put down a ladder. They got in. They used explosives and various very large saws to cut through different parts of the building and make it in. Obviously, this building has alarms because most buildings like these do, but they were prepared. They apparently blocked a lot of the roads, putting down these little spikes, so any police cars that were coming would their car tires would get blown from these spikes. And they apparently also like
This is the best part.
Actually, you say it, bro. Like,
so like if the roads are blocked and they got onto the building with a helicopter, you'd think, well, can't the police get to the top of the building the same way through their helicopters? Well, yes, they can. So the police wanted to do that exact same thing, but they had the ingenious idea to plant a bag in front of the police aircraft carrier, and they just wrote the word bomb.
That's it
on the bag.
That is so genius. They didn't even have to have they didn't even have to go through the effort of making a bomb to put it there. They just had to make them scared enough to believe it was a bomb, which is genius.
it's so good.
So good.
It's so good.
And they were in and out in a few minutes. They jumped on the helicopter, flew out of there, and then they landed it somewhere, ran off, and unfortunately, they were not never seen again. I mean, maybe fortunately. I mean, I was kind of cheering for these dudes, but a few of them did get caught trying to leave the country, and it was technically a non-violent crime, so they got a few years in jail. 3. I think the biggest sentence was 9, and there were still people who weren't caught, and they did not recover the money either.
But
So
they recovered some, just not all of it.
yeah, they recovered a small portion of it. They're still missing like probably hundreds of millions. So once those guys got out, the guys who were holding it, probably met up and
Yeah, because everybody from that heist is now out of jail, and the money is not recovered.
yep.
Like that kind of like brings up the question: would you spend 9 years in jail for $100 million
So
in a Swedish jail?
I was going to say, if it's a
I hear they're
Swedish
nicer.
jail, yes. If it's an American jail or like a third world country jail, no. But a Swedish jail, like how many Swedish people, like the crime rates there are so low that the people who probably are in jail are probably like in there for very small crimes. We're not talking about like mass murderers or anything.
Don't they have like separate cells and like separate bathrooms and stuff?
Yeah, they're living the life, man. They probably got a TV in there with a remote and everything, man.
Yes, this I'm taking Swedish jail for 100 mil. Yeah, I'm taking.
Hell yeah. I'll take Swedish jail for 100 mil, Alex. Oh man, I heard that story and that was just amazing. And this happened all the way back in 2009, so all those guys are just running free right now, doing who knows what.
Good for them.
So
Good for them. I wish I had thought of something like that. Cause bro, if I had the people and like the resources to do it, yeah, and no one got hurt.
and I was about to say that's the best part. Like they didn't hurt anybody. They just went in, they took what they wanted, and they were out. That was it.
Actually, I'd like to retract that statement. I'll never do anything like that, just in case.
Yeah, that plan. I mean, that was really
was
hard to
hard
watch,
to-
man. Like,
Yeah, I
that
mean
was
these criminals.
criminals, man. That's crazy. Not supporting them
No.
whatsoever. We were just being sarcastic. You see, the reason why we were saying all this stuff is because it was like a Fast and Furious movie, and yeah, it was like
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, not in support
Nope.
whatsoever. We would never do this.
I would never say to those guys, you know what, guys? Congratulations on a job well done. I would never
job
say
well
that to
done.
them ever. No.
Not at all. But if you're listening, though, I mean, nah, I don't condone it.
Nope.
Oh, but yeah, I think we'll end the episode there. That was a funny tangent. I thought it was super interesting. I just had to mention it. Anything else we need to talk about?
No, I think we're good.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening, and we'll catch you guys next week.
All right. Peace.